Yeah, and the government just gave you a $10,000 grant to do more research, right?
Yeah, a little more than that.
Oh, it wasn't 10,000?
It was 10 million.
10 million?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is my best friend though. Hey guys and girls, I'm James and welcome to the channel. Look what I got here, the DJI Enterprise Advanced. Guys, this thing is an amazing thermal drone, and I got some videos coming out with this on how first responders can use it to make the world a better and safer place. But today I really have something special for you. There is an app that they can use with these that can save tens of millions of dollars in lives of first responders, and it's called SkyeBrowse. And it was started by Ouyang in Dallas. And I'm going to let him share the story of why he came up with the idea of SkyeBrowse and how it actually works and the mechanics of it. And it's really long. It takes like 20 minutes for it to go into it. You'll find it very interesting. But before I even do that, I go and interview my own fire marshal, and they've been using it for 3 years and what they think of the app and how it keeps the first responders off the freeways for doing accident investigation sites, because those can take 3 to 5 hours, and that's the number one cause of death of first responders is doing these accident investigation sites, getting hit. Instead of spending 3 to 5 hours out there, they can use the drone and do it in 5 to 10 minutes. It's already been used over 7,000 times by 200 different departments out there. So real quick, here's what my fire marshal says.
Oh, it saves us quite a bit, because you'll go from doing an accident reconstruction with shooting it all by hand and having to walk around and shoot every point where you're out there for 4 or 5 hours. So you've got the roadway shut down, causing problems there, and you're putting the officers at risk. And we can go out there and we'll fly it and make sure we've got everything we need and be in and out in probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Wow.
So it's a big savings.
All right, so here's the whole interview with my fire marshal. It's only 5 or 6 minutes, and then I have the interview with Bobby. So let's dive in and be ready to be amazed on what drones can do to make the world a better place. Let's watch. Hey guys and girls, I'm here with Doug Parks. Do you like to be called Chief or Fire Marshal or?
Chief's fine.
Chief's fine. All right, Chief. I'm James Stanton, and I am here today because I spent some time with Bobby the other day and going over his new SkyeBrowse app. And I thought it'd be really good to hear it from someone. I mean, I live in Roanoke, so I called you. And actually, when I brought up that I live in Roanoke, he told me that y'all were one of the first agencies to use SkyeBrowse.
Yeah, we've been using it a couple years down and everything. Been real happy with it and how we use it and everything.
How is the interface of teaching everyone how to use SkyeBrowse, and how has it helped you?
It's been, I mean, it's real user-friendly there. We go out, we'll train with it, just most of the trainings on the job training stuff, watch some of the videos that he puts up on the trainings and sends out, and then we'll use it for either on the police department side, we'll use it for the accident reconstruction stuff, and we'll do that with our regional crash team, which is 4 or 5 cities around here that all combine resources to do the crash reconstruction stuff. And then we'll use it on our events and fireside for mapping out any of our planned events, like when we do the 3rd of July down in the park behind us here. We do stuff along Oak Street. We'll map it out and we can measure and see where things are and how to lay it all out.
So on the accident investigation side, I was shocked to learn the number one way that police officers die is in accident investigations on highways.
Sitting out on the roadway for so long.
Yeah, so what's the time frame that you think it saves, being able to put the...
Oh, it saves us quite a bit, because you'll go from doing an accident reconstruction with shooting it all by hand and having to walk around and shoot every point where you're out there for 4 or 5 hours. So you've got the roadway shut down, causing problems there, and you're putting the officers at risk. And we can go out there and we'll fly it and make sure we've got everything we need and be in and out in probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Wow.
So it's a big savings.
And especially when it's in Texas, it's 100 degrees outside.
Right. Yeah. And there's traffic around here bad enough as it is, so it doesn't need any help.
And it can cost up to $1 million an hour to shut down a major freeway.
Shutting it down, yeah, rerouting and everything. And then you're paying guys overtime to be out there if they're on call and stuff too.
Right.
So.
And as far as having the data in your hands, how does it compare to when you did it by hand?
It's great, because even when we shot it by hand and finished the part on the roadway, you still have to come back, put it all into the computer to get your drawing and everything like that, put your pictures in there with it. And by doing it this way, it's all done. You send it to the server that he has. It's all CJIS compliant, so it meets all the standards there for the legal side. And when you get it back, it's pretty much ready to use. You can go in there and annotate the few things you need to, or the markers.
Have you had any problems with it throughout the thing? Or?
We have not had any problems with it. And anytime we've had a little hiccup with the upload or something like that, you can call Bobby up 24/7 and he's on there and he'll walk you through it, or if he's busy, he'll tell you, hey, I'll get back with you in a few minutes or something. But
okay. How many pilots do you have right now? And are they all 107? Do they need a COA?
We've got the admin side over here. We fly with all 4 of us, and we fly under a COA. Then there's 2 guys on each shift, so 6 guys on the operations side that fly under 107s.
Okay. All right.
So we have the mix and match.
And of course, all the drone nerds out there like me are wanting to know, so what do you fly?
We've got the DJIs, mostly the Mavic 2 duals, and then an Autel Evo 2 dual.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's a good drone. That's what Bobby flies. As a consumer, do you see any use that they could use it at? I mean, just thought if you were thinking that I could, you've used it way more than probably anybody out there. So any input you have?
I mean, ours all on, obviously on the public safety side using it. As far as individuals using it and everything, I mean, like if you do real estate or that kind of thing where you want to map out areas, then I can see that being beneficial for you and getting a good map. We used it on a large fire down in another city and getting probably close to 300,000 square foot warehouse mapped out in no time that we would have spent. Yeah,
that was big.
We mapped that out. Bobby used it on one of his little weekly blog or something there that he had up.
So what do you think about the value?
The value is great for us. I mean, obviously being in the city and the municipal government, we have to make good use of our taxpayers' monies, and that was a use that we came up with. And looking at the amount of money we'd save over not paying the overtime and having 4, 5, or 6 guys out there where 2 people can go out, fly it, and be done in a half hour, then we're saving a lot of money. It pays for itself over and over each year. So.
Over and over each year. Yeah. Well, man, I thank you so much for your time. I just wanted to hear it from a pro. So how long have you been using it about, you think?
We've been using probably 3 years.
Yeah, that's as long as it's been out.
Yeah. So we signed on pretty early on, saw it was a good thing. And
he just got a $10 million grant.
Yeah, and it's constantly coming up with the updates for it, and being able to use it with different manufacturers of aircraft. So that's always nice. And said he's been real open to public safety input as far as if we see something that, hey, can you make it do this? He'll work on it and push it out. So
awesome. Well,
it's great.
Awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. All right. Bye-bye. So guys, I'd actually spent time with Bobby before I went and spent time with my fire marshal, but I wanted to show that first to show the credibility of the app. So here's the time I spent with Bobby where he talks about why he started the app and how the app functions and how it works. I know it's long, but it's very interesting. So let's dive in. Bobby, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
In my apartment. So SkyeBrowse essentially simplifies emergency response with one button press. It started about 6 years ago when I was a researcher and student at Rutgers University. I was doing research for a video-based 3D model reconstruction, turning a video into a 3D model. And it wasn't too interesting, but I kept on doing it because it paid really well, and I ended up getting into a motorcycle accident. I ended up taking a turn a little too quick, low side of my bike at about 60 miles an hour, and I ended up with a hole in my foot. And it was a pretty nasty looking accident, and I was in the hospital a few hours later. I text my buddy, I'm like, hey Fred, you got a truck, can you pick up my bike? He goes to the scene, and there's still police officers doing accident reconstruction.
Wow.
Hours later.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, wait, what if we can put this technology on drones and use that for accident reconstruction altogether? And so we have. So now over 200 agencies in America fly SkyeBrowse, and they use it for accident reconstruction, saving them hours of time. Instead of spending 5 hours on scene, they're spending about 5 minutes now on scene, just documenting the accident, and then they can just focus on cleanup afterwards.
I've read that if you shut down a major freeway in a major city, it's up to $1 million an hour that it costs the taxpayer.
Average for fatal accident, about 5 hours.
About
4 or 5
on
hours.
a major freeway.
Yeah, that just means 4 or 6 lanes turn down to 1 lane.
And with SkyeBrowse?
With SkyeBrowse, that only happens for about 10 minutes or so, and then
well,
clean up.
Because before, they would have to map it all out, and they would get their tape measures and chalk, and you tell me how the old way of doing it was.
Yeah, the old way is like lugging around a laser scanner. You put it in a position, it does the scan, and then afterwards you have to put it in the next position. So that still takes about an hour or so. Tape measuring is also one of the methods, and that takes a super long time, and you got to take pictures and whatnot afterwards. So this is very manually intensive and also very dangerous for police officers when they're on scene.
Right.
In fact, the leading cause of police officer death is from being struck by a car.
Wow, not getting shot.
No.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. So with SkyeBrowse, they take a drone. Does it take any kind of drone, just about, or what's required in the drone to be able to use your? Is it an app? Is it web-based? Is it?
Yeah, so it's an app. You can download it on iOS, Android coming out pretty soon, and we also have it for the smart controller as well. Works with DJI and Autel drones, so that's about 94% of the drone market. So works with just about every drone out there. And all you have to do is download the app. You fly through the app, so you connect it to your controller, turn on your drone, fly your drone above a scene, and you press one button, and the drone will fly itself for about 2 minutes, and then 10 minutes later, you'll get a 3D model processed.
Now, do you have to take it out of the SD card, or is it in the app?
It's currently in. You have to take out the SD card, plug it into a computer,
Just like
upload
you would
it.
anything else, and you upload it?
Yeah. And videogrammetry is significantly faster than photogrammetry, which is taking 500, maybe 1,000 photos for a larger scene. This is just one video file that you have to upload. And it only takes about 10 minutes to process instead of 5 or 10 hours.
I mean, because when I do mapping, it takes a long time. How is this map making a 3D model so fast?
Well, it's a lot of proprietary algorithms. Essentially what we're looking at is what we're pre-generating the model based off of the flight logs from the drone, which are sent to our CGIS compliant cloud ahead of time. So we already know what the model is going to look like, and when you upload the video, it's essentially like painting the house. So we build the foundation of the house when you're done with the flight, and then afterwards, when you upload the video, we slap every single frame of the video on top of that, so it paints the house and makes it look nice and pretty.
Needed? Would thermal help?
We do offer thermal modeling as well with certain drones. So thermal modeling takes about 45 seconds, so you can get real-time structure fire data and whatnot with that.
So when they bring it back, if you're in a courtroom and you're trying to describe what an accident happened and you can bring up this data, how much does that help?
Oh, it's insane. I mean, over a dozen of our models have gone through court, and just showing that 3D model itself really gives that jury that CSI effect. You're able to essentially see exactly what happened and paint the entire picture, not only with a video itself, but also with actionable measurements that are accurate down to a centimeter.
Okay, and is this your company?
Yeah, I started it 6 years ago.
6 years ago, and the government just gave you a $10,000 grant to do more research, right?
Yeah, a little more than that.
Oh, it wasn't 10,000?
It was 10 million.
10 million?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is
Wow.
my best friend, though. So $10 million, is this over a time period and they're going to release it to you as you do your proof of concept? But obviously your proof of concept is working, because how many police departments right now are using it, you said?
There's about 200 split between police and fire right now, and we've done about 7,000 accidents over the past 2 years. That's about like 1.5%, almost 2% of all the major accidents that happen in the United States.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay, and is there competition out there that are trying to do it, or are you the...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of really reputable companies out there, like Pix40 and Drone Deploy. They both make fantastic looking 3D models. Yeah.
But how long does it take? But I've used Pix40. I mean, it takes hours. How is this doing it in minutes?
Well, we're just getting more information altogether from the video itself. Our method of processing 3D models is just a little different than how they're doing it with a bunch of pictures. We're using every single frame of the video. So we know what's going to happen after the next frame of the video. We know the flight path itself. So we can slap the frames of the video on top of the 3D model a lot easier than just a bunch of random pictures that you're getting from the drone itself.
Wow. All right, so the police officer gets there. Does he have to have a 107? If he's going to use it?
Yes, okay. Most agencies have 107s and COAs, so they're...
Explain, a COA is a certificate of authorization? Right, okay.
Yeah,
so they have to have their 107, they have to know how to fly a drone. What's the learning curve of trying to learn the platform?
Well, it's one button press, so all you have to do is just fly above the scene.
Set parameters?
You have two options. You have SkyeBrowse and WideBrowse. So SkyeBrowse is for spot instances. You're able to map out up to an acre with SkyeBrowse. WideBrowse is for long range mapping, and that you can easily map out 50 acres in just 5 minutes with WideBrowse. With SkyeBrowse, you'll see two circles that show up on your map view, and those two circles, whatever's in those two circles turn into a 3D model. So if you fly higher, the circles get bigger, and if you fly lower, the circles get smaller, and then you just press start.
And so is it doing a lawnmower looking? How is it adjusting to that scene?
Yeah, so with WideBrowse, it does a lawnmower pattern, a back and forth lawnmower pattern. And that's also the magic of videogrammetry, because we're recording video, which means that you don't have to slow down to take a picture. If you fly too quickly and take a picture, you get a blurry picture. But with video, we're just using every single frame of the video. So we're forcing the drone to fly at 34 miles an hour, which is the fastest autonomous flight we can get with DJI drones right there.
It doesn't need a mechanical shutter?
Nothing, because we're using video, every single frame of the video. If you think about it, if you're doing photogrammetry and you're taking a picture here, flying to the next point and taking a picture here, what about all the missing frames in between when you're flying? Well, with videogrammetry, you're using all those frames as well to generate this 3D model. And that's how we're able to make high quality 3D models that are also accurate.
Okay. So if you're going to, what are some other use cases that could be used besides just for first responders?
For other use cases, there's actually an interesting court case that's using our 3D models to look at illegal dumpings. At certain water treatment facilities, and it's apparently poisoning the people in, I think near Sacramento, California, and they made a bunch of 3D models and they're going to use it as proof of the dumpings as well as distance measurements and whatnot. Aside from that, for commercial users, we do have a few commercial users as well that fly SkyeBrowse with our monthly package where they can make 3D models of roofs or do stockpiles and that kind of stuff.
Stockpiles, like if you're building a building, you want to check on, make sure all your materials are there and how fast they're growing away and stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, this must cost thousands of dollars a month.
No, not at all. No, just $149 a month. We've actually lowered our prices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and how many users is that one police station or is that per police officer?
So that's per person. Yeah.
Per person?
And then police departments, usually they operate on yearly contracts. So either we do a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year contract.
So like, I live in Roanoke, Texas, and you said the police department there uses it. So is it just going to be pretty much just one police officer? And it's a small community. So is it one police officer with one drone? And when it happens, they call it one police officer, or they, like Dallas has, what, 2,000, I don't know, 2,000 police officers. So they probably have, what's the ratio of police officers that would actually have this?
I think Roanoke has like 5 users right now on SkyeBrowse. It's split between Roanoke Police as well as Roanoke Fire. So their fire department uses it and occasionally does mutual aid and helps out with the PD for certain accidents if maybe the drone pilot's on vacation or something like that.
Okay. Do you ever go to the scenes and just see how it goes?
Early days, yeah. I went to a lot of fatal accident scenes, did a lot of mapping just to see how it worked out in real life.
It must be rough. And how many employees do you have now?
We have 25 right now, plus some interns on top of that. We raised $2.3 million late last year, and we've been using that just to grow the company, to build out new technologies. And on top of the $10 million DHS grant, we're building technologies to make schools a lot safer. So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about school shootings.
Yeah, so it's a tragedy that happens, that our children are, you'll see that our kids are getting slaughtered in schools and everything. And I think this isn't a proactive technology, but it's a reactive technology that can also apply for a lot of different use cases. With SkyeBrowse.
So let's talk about an active shooter situation. How does this help?
So with an active shooter situation, you're making a 3D model of the school ahead of time, overlaying the floor plan with certain levels of transparency on top of that, so you'll see which room and in which building is in the 3D model. And then with the SkyeBrowse app, it tracks your location in 3 dimensions in the school itself. So you'll be able to not only see where all the police officers are, the SWAT officers going into the scene, securing the scene, but also where the teachers are. And they could open up maybe a hot mic. They could also see how many students are in those rooms as well. And it just really gives you much better information. So when an officer goes in, clears a room, that room turns maybe from green to yellow, or from red to yellow, saying that it's been cleared once. And then once they clear it again, it turns green. So now you know which rooms are cleared and which rooms are not cleared. And it just gives principals, teachers, police officers so much more information and better presence of mind.
So where do you see the future of the company going?
The future of the company is definitely to make people's lives safer. So a lot of the technologies that we're building right now are involving drones and 3D models, but I do want to affirm that we're not a drone company, nor are we a 3D modeling company. We're just building the best technologies for our first responders and armed forces to make people's lives a lot safer and more efficient.
Yeah, and are you profitable at this point?
At this point, we were last year, but we hired a bunch of people, so now we're...
you got to have passion for what you're doing.
Yeah.
When I had lunch with you, I could just feel it. So everything you seem like you're making, you're putting back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and just building a lot of really cool technologies because SkyeBrowse has so many different use cases. There's use cases for search and rescue, for USAR. You're able to make a 3D model of a natural disaster ahead of time, and it'll just take very little time to make that 3D model. And then afterwards, everybody's tracking that 3D model, and you'll be able to see. It's essentially ATAC on steroids, where you're able to see missing people in the 3D model that gets marked as like a missing person or a rescued person. You'll be able to see all the search and rescue volunteers. We have computer vision to distinguish those two as well. So basically, it gives you actionable insights on. Not only does it give you actionable insight on natural disasters and mission critical situations, but it also tells you what to do as well. It makes decisions as well on top of that.
So kind of like, we've been talking about car accidents, but let's say a whole neighborhood gets hit by a tornado. Would that be multiple maps? Does it? I mean, how would that be used in like a situation like that?
Yeah, so that'd be multiple maps on a Skye map. So you'd essentially have a satellite tile of everything. On top of that, you get the 3D models that you've created. And SkyeBrowse is built off of SkyeBrowse itself, our core videogrammetry technologies. Without being able to make a 3D model so quickly, you wouldn't be able to get this actionable data in the first place. So it's built off of our foundation.
So you've got someone that's probably over the accident scene. Within what amount of time can he have a 3D model of what the damage of that tornado did?
That tornado, one of our employees, Jeff Clementi, he also volunteers for a nonprofit called StormPoint, where he does a lot of USAR as well as natural disasters, and he does a lot of mapping. He said that it took him about 10 minutes to do the flying and about 20 minutes to map out, I think, a little over 100 acres.
Literally an hour or two, even after the tornado's just left, whoever's in charge of restoring and making that area safer again, he has a 3D model he can look at. He can spin it around, he can look, I mean, just like, if y'all, this is what a 3D model looks like of a building or something, right? I'll show this. But so he can look at that whole situation of what the damage was done.
Exactly. Right. And then that's how you really triage emergency response, where you're able to see which areas have the highest level of impact and which areas you don't have to check out as much.
Wow, that's just awesome. Man, I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. And I'm sure I want to do some follow-up stuff with you. We live close. We met at the Texas Drone Workshop.
Shout out to Adrian Doko.
And you work a little bit with Greg and Pilotus too?
Yeah, they're great guys. We're on their public safety course. We have a video on there, and chances are we'll probably have some more videos for training on there.
Yeah. Shout out to Greg Revido.
River Doo-Doo-Doo.
If you're thinking about getting your 107, to use SkyeBrowse.
Shout out to Pilot Institute.
Is there a trial period?
Absolutely, you get 2 weeks free just by making an account.
Yeah, so just to educate yourself of what it's $150 a month. You aren't really meant to compete with Drone Deploy then, right? Or you are?
Well, our use cases are different than Drone Deploy's. Drone Deploy uses Google Cloud, which is not CGIS compliant. So in theory, Google could go in and look at your data, or Drone Deploy could go in and look at your data, whereas our cloud has been proven to be CGIS compliant, and it's also FedRAMP Impact Level 2, so it's trusted by the Air Force. It's the same cloud used by Lockheed Martin as well. So we've gone through a lot of steps for compliance in the early days of SkyeBrowse.
You've done your research.
Yeah, so we're designed primarily for public safety, but of course we do have users that if they want to map out, say, a beached whale, which was I think in November, or if they want to map out illegal dumpings, then you can certainly use SkyeBrowse for that.
Man, I really appreciate you letting me talk to you. I'm so excited. I mean, because I'm a drone advocate, so just seeing what drones can do, you think you hear about good things and things they're doing, but this is all. I mean, how long has this technology been out and being used by police officers and fire departments right now? We
launched January of 2020, so we've been around for about 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
The other 3 years were spent just doing research, a lot of research. Yeah, it's just.
So how do you communicate? So you got 24 employees. They're kind of all, they're kind of scattered all over the United States. Yeah,
that's like the benefit of having a software company as opposed to hardware. We don't need physical hardware. Of course, everybody on our team has a drone like this, but they just all work from home. We all communicate through Slack, and we will do like Zoom meetings and whatnot to check in with each other, brainstorm, that kind of stuff.
All right, man, I really appreciate it. Anything you want to say wrapping it up?
No, I'm just happy to be chatting about SkyeBrowse, talking about our technologies moving forward, and we're coming out with a lot more stuff outside of SkyeBrowse as well. So stay tuned for that. And appreciate it.
Guys, if you got any questions for Bobby or me, just leave them underneath in the chat, and I promise we'll answer every single one of them. And how do they contact, or how do they find out more? Do you have a website?
Yep, check out www.skyebrowse.com. Skye spelled S-K-Y-E right there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye.
Thanks.
Cool. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. Subscribers mean everything to me in this channel. What an amazing app. I mean, Bobby's a doer. He thought of something of what that can make the world a better and safer place, and he acted on it, and it's doing amazing things out there. So I've got a lot of good reviews coming up. I can't wait to start doing some in-depth work with this Enterprise Advanced. Guys, I had the dual Enterprise, last year, but that was the thermal imaging of 120 and a thermal camera, and this one's 640, which is about as high as you can get out there, and they put it in the size of a Mavic. So really excited on using this. And also, I'm going to go get someone who's never used SkyeBrowse before and doesn't know a lot about drones, and me and Bobby are going to put them through the paces and show you how easy SkyeBrowse is to use. So guys, if you have any questions, like I said, leave it underneath for me or Bobby. I'm sure we'll get back to you. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.